Hey, guys.
Is that what we're gonna do?
Yeah. Could you guys tell me anything about Monopolies?
What do you mean, the game?
The game?
The game?
The game? Hey. What comes to mind when I say Monopoly?
The game.
What comes to mind when I say Monopolies?
The game.
The game? Oh, I love the game.
The game?
Hey, could you tell me a little bit about Monopolies?
The game.
The game? The game?
The game?
Yeah.
Hey, can you tell me anything about Monopolies?
Oh yeah, Monopoly? That's like, you know, back in the day when they had this like a board game and like the guy at the top hat and he's got
shit, the mother game. I'm sorry. Now let's go ask some more people some questions. What government agency was created to protect the market from being controlled by one company?
The U.S. Department of Justice Antitrust Division.
What? What? God. Do you see any advantages to monopolies?
Well, technically, it can create more jobs for the industry and maximize profit.
Hey, could you tell us any disadvantages of monopolies?
Well, it could include, you know, offshoring of jobs and hiring of cheap labor, which, you know, could result in the overall drop of quality in the product.
This guy. Hey Ryan, could you tell me what a monopoly is?
Well, Giles, a monopoly is exclusive possession or control in the trade of a commodity, product, or service, or the condition of having no competitor in one's trade or business.
What do monopolies have to do with inelasticity of demand?
That's an excellent question, and I'm really glad you asked that to me at 9 o'clock in the morning. I think basically what monopolies do is they create inelastic demand because there is no more price variation, there is no more demand variation. They have like control over everything, so therefore they're actually responsible for the inelasticity of demand and prices as well. Right? Is that okay?
Monopolies began to become a big issue with the rise of industrialization. There are two main ways monopolies generally form. The first type of monopoly is formed when an innovative company starts an important new industry or business. This company can remain a monopoly by keeping control of their industry in various ways. One way they keep control is simply by staying so far ahead of the competition that all the customers keep buying from them. Sometimes a company remains monopoly because it's too expensive or impossible for a rival company to catch up with them in quality or price. Through progress, quality, and price, these companies can completely dominate the new industry and drive all rival companies out of business, while simultaneously discouraging would-be competitors. It isn't always the first company of an industry that becomes a monopoly. In some cases, a second company outdoes the original and quickly drives it out of business. This is the case with Microsoft when it drove IBM out of the PC software business. IBM was the originator of PC. Initially, they used their own operating software, but then they licensed this software to Microsoft. Microsoft improved it and sold it so much more that they basically drove IBM out of the software business. The second way monopolies form is known as a natural monopoly. The natural monopoly occurs when companies with the same product and similar costs compete for customers through price. The companies keep lowering prices until they start losing money, and when they run out of money, they go out of business. Whichever company is the last one standing becomes the sole producer or seller of the product or service, creating a monopoly.
Another way monopolies can be created is when the government limits competition in a particular market. The bus is a perfect example of this type of monopoly. Although the bus is public transportation, it can still be considered a monopoly because of the fact that it's the only competitor in its market. In this type of monopoly, businesses usually have some sort of government intervention that prevents competition from entering the market. The city and county of Honolulu took over public ownership of the bus in 1971. The bus is a union-protected, publicly owned company that almost 100,000 people depend on each day. When the bus workers go on strike, the whole island is affected, and those dependents don't have an alternative company to provide them with bus transportation. To 2 years ago, the bus decided to raise fares to support the wage increase of their bus drivers, who now make almost twice as much as mainland bus drivers. If the bus were a private company, then raising fares would displease the public and a competitor could offer lower prices. However, in this monopoly, the restrictions and regulations put in by the government don't allow for other competitors. The bus is protected from competition by laws. Although the bus is a great source of public transportation, the wage increases of the drivers are paid by its users and by taxpayers, who in turn receive the same efficiency of transportation. Government-owned or protected monopolies have the potential to cost us all more in the end.
Metal Gold.
On November 13, 2004, Foremost Dairies Hawaii shut down manufacturing and distribution operations in the state. This left Metal Gold as the only provider for dairy products in Hawaii. As of that date, Metal Gold was a monopoly and had the ability to raise its prices. Wholesale milk prices in Hawaii rose 18% in July 2004 from the year earlier. The market still appeared to have some competition from cheap low-quality brands such as Best Yet, Lucerne, and Dairy Glen, who offered milk at almost half the price. However, these companies actually used milk processed at Metal Gold's plant and had it placed in their containers. This benefited Metal Gold because these companies obviously had to pay to use Metal Gold's processed milk. This shows Metal Gold's true monopolyness.
55% of Hawaii's milk still comes from the mainland, showing that there will always be some form of competition in a market. However, if there was ever a cutoff from mainland supply of milk, Metal Gold would have the freedom to raise prices.
This means that if Metal Gold started to make milk that tasted like shit, we would all be f***ed.
This is a presentation of what life is like with the Metal Gold monopoly.
In order to raise awareness about this lifestyle, we've decided to put this video up on YouTube.